I think things are actually happening without any unexpected hitches. There's a few things that I knew was going to be a problem because I might be trying to stream to both YouTube and Twitch. First time I have tried doing this. And I'm not gonna lie, Stream Elements was kind of giving me a hard time trying to figure out if things were working without just straight up going live. So here we are. I think it's working considering I see people in the YouTube chat, which I had to go fucking dig for, by the way. I could not get YouTube Live to show me the active live stream, and I had to straight just go to my channel and find myself live. That sucked. And for some asinine reason, the built-in YouTube chat window in OBS does not allow me to actually type any messages. There is not a bar to type anything, and I have no idea why. Please say something if you can hear me, because I'm going by what OBS tells me, and it says my mic is active, but I don't want a repeat of things I tend to do where I don't actually enable my mic. We can hear you. Cool. I think Twitch is working as well, as far as I can tell. I'm looking at like God knows how many different windows. Holy shit. So something you guys here. I'll switch it so you don't have to like stare at the starting soon. In case anyone has it muted, they didn't want to listen to my lovely music. I think this is the right scene. Can you tell I'm extremely rusty? Hi. So, little thing to note here. Given that I am multi-streaming, I unfortunately could not get the YouTube notifications to work, so I'm really hoping that this chat that I'm looking at has, like, if anyone does anything notable, that I can read it out and it shows it. If not, I might have to go look at the actual, like, live chat. Because, things are... My things are not going super great on my end. But I think everything is working. I have not touched OBS for streaming purposes probably in a year. Probably in a year. Maybe, like, if I'm being generous, 11 months. I think the last thing I streamed was probably TF2 Classic, which was now rebranded into TF Classified, I believe, if I'm remembering right. It's been a bit. But yeah, hi, hello. Just so you know, because I'm sure some of you are going to be disappointed, I was not planning on playing anything today. At least I wasn't planning on playing TF2. I kind of just wanted to sit here and chat and just kind of, I don't know, answer any questions people might have because I haven't uploaded on YouTube in a year. But yeah, hi. So once again, I apologize. YouTube chat will not pop up. The only one that I have active right now that is showing up is Twitch. So sorry about that. I couldn't get the YouTube stuff working. It was being a pain in the ass. But I am actively looking at the YouTube chat. So that should be fine. Hello to everyone that's saying hello. Again, sorry. Sorry, Twitch gets to be front and center. Haha. No, feel free to watch wherever you want. I am indifferent. I'm keeping an eye on everything. So, hi. I haven't uploaded a video in a year, and I should probably explain why. Am I all good? I'm good. I am pretty much just being an adult, and I'll say this multiple times because I'm gonna need to say it for anyone coming in halfway through the stream, but it is something I have mentioned many times in the past, probably 2-ish years. A lot of my creative juices have gone towards not the TF2 soundtrack. Sure, if it did, would have had a video come out, but no, it's been going to cosplay stuff. That is my creative outlet, is making costumes and props for my own pleasure. So if you follow me on social media, mainly Instagram and Twitter, honestly some Reddit, you'll get some on Reddit too. That's pretty much where everything's gone. That is where all of my creativity has gone, and all of my time. So, that's why there hasn't been any videos. At least that's a large reason as to why. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. I don't know how loud it is on you guys' end, but that is significantly louder than the banjo song that was playing beforehand. So yeah, there's that, and all of the video projects, and if you've read my YouTube post from a couple days ago, you'll hear kind of the same sentiment, just more freeform. So it's not to say that I haven't had video projects that I've worked on over the past year, or that I haven't had ideas I haven't wanted to execute. It's more so that I just never got around to finishing them. Probably the video that was the deepest in production was the prop video, the TF2 props videos, because as you can see back here, I got a lot of fucking TF2 props, and you know, I thought I should probably make a video kind of talking over like how I made some of the ones that like were actually made, like the Sydney Sleeper made from scratch, the Abominomicon made from scratch, that Scattergun over there painted, stuff like that. So I wanted to make a video where I kind of went over that, and as I was kind of gathering everything up, I was like starting to film everything, and keep in mind, filming, I needed footage that showed off the prop, but I also needed to be in an appropriate costume. So for instance, if I had any of the sniper props, I had to be in a sniper costume, scout prop, scout costume, spies, stuff like that. Which meant I had to constantly keep switching costumes. But I also had to get good footage of like showing off the prop at multiple angles. And my setup, as you can tell, is not great. If you can't see it, but down there, if you don't know, I have a green screen that goes up and down. So that helps. But like the area I have to work with, especially for a full like green screen, like I'm talking into a mic type deal, it's not great. It's really, really not great. But I got through that. I got like, I want to say, being generous, probably 65% of the footage recorded that I needed, and I had started editing it, and I got really deep into editing it to the point where there are 1 or 2 sections that are pretty much completely finished, but I never finished the rest of it. I never got around to either filming the remaining footage I needed to, or recording the voiceover that I needed, or just getting myself in the costume and having the motivation to do that. God Mode Games said, have I learned how to do a backflip? I know you're joking, but let me give you some Skyrim lore. I actually, in middle school, as a quick side tangent, because it's relevant to this comment, I actually was in gymnastics throughout middle school, and I could do a backflip. I could do multiple backflips. I can tell you right now, I can't do a backflip. I think if I had tried, I'd probably injure my back. Because my back is not what it used to be, obviously. And yeah, so in theory, I could do a backflip still. But if anything, I learned how to do a backflip at age like 11, 10, maybe. Yeah, so let me think. Back to things. Any secret projects on the background? I guess that kind of goes into like what I was talking about. So I don't know. I might, if you guys want, I might pull up. Honestly, I think I'll probably kill my PC doing this. I might pull up the Premiere file of that video that I was working on, because like I said, there are sections that are finished, and I had actually considered releasing the ones related to Halloween, because like I have there's a Abominomicon back there. I got some Halloween related, or at least things that could be associated with Halloween props that I could have put together, and I got this close to doing it as its own video just to get something out there, but I didn't go around with doing it. Trying to think what else. There's also a few other video projects that didn't really get past the conceptual phases that weren't TF2 related, and you could probably guess why it didn't go past the, oh, I would like to make a video on this. Nobody cares. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and beat around the bush. No, I know you guys just want TF2. And there are some things that like I would really like to do. So for instance, there's a video I want to talk about things of like finding the good in the bad, primarily when it comes to like bad adaptations. Because if you don't know, I really like the Avatar series. And the Avatar series is pretty well known for not having very good live action adaptations. But I am like of a staunch opinion that in any adaptation, especially in Avatar, there are good things that come out of it, and you can tell that there are things that did work. It's just people can't get over the whole picture, like the entire product as a whole, and they just say, oh no, literally everything in that is shit. It's like, no, there are redeeming factors about things that they tried to do. And I really wanted to talk about that because I also just recently completed my Avatar Yang Chen cosplay, and there were things that I took from the live action and put it onto that cosplay in order to like kind of elevate it. But yeah, so that's one thing that like, that is an idea I really want to do, but I'd have to flesh it out, and I have to get that Yang Chen costume's kind of a pain in the ass. You can see the wig back there, which needs to be refreshed after a day at Anime Week in Atlanta. But it is a pain in the ass to get into. But yeah. Let's see. God forbid part of a movie makes you chuckle. I don't even think that's a problem, because like a lot of, like, with Avatar in particular, a lot of people laugh at the earthbending section for pretty good reason. And I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is completely denouncing, like, anything that you can take away that wasn't bad. So I guess I'll go into it just a little bit, and then I'm gonna get back on track. So one of the things that I think the Shyamalan movie did really well, or at least tried to do really well, was adapt the clothing into real life. So when you look at the Netflix live action and you look at the Shyamalan live action costumes, I think neither of them truly got it right, because I think the Netflix live action tried to stay too faithful to the cartoon, which meant all of the colors were extremely bright, but that also meant all the costumes looked brand new. And I had just recently rewatched the Netflix show, and I'm watching the end of the Siege of the North, and they're like they're coming down from the battle, and they're like in the aftermath, and their faces are like fucked up, and there's not a speck of dirt on their clothing, and I'm just like sitting there like, okay, yeah, this is a problem. I think they're fixing it in season 2, because the way that the teasers we've seen, there's a lot more grit put into the costumes, and like Aang's costume is legitimately fucked up, and you can see that they've repaired it. I think that's good. I'm hoping that like they kind of like take that for the whole season, because Toph looks really good. Toph's costume looks great. But in Shyamalan's version, they kind of did the opposite problem, where they tried to translate it more into real life. So they took away all of the colors. And there is still, at least there is some grit, but they still do look like costumes. It's just kind of the nature. They don't want to screw up custom costumes like that. But in Shyamalan's, when it comes to Aang and the Airbender's tattoos design, I think if you could get a middle ground between the Netflix version and the Shyamalan version, you'd have like the perfect union of this is what this should look like in real life. Because my issue with Aang's tattoos in the Netflix version is it's a giant fucking blue arrow with an outline. I think, honestly, if you got rid of the literal outline that they have, there's literally a stroke on his tattoos, I think it would look a little bit better. But as is, it kind of looks a little goofy. Like, they have the details in there, but then they just saturate it with blue. That's about the best I can explain it. And then the problem I have with Shyamalan's version is it's a little too based on realism, because they did base it on, like, a real culture. And because of that, it's a little hard to sort of see the shape, because it's very small strokes, and there's no color to it. So I think if you, like, join the two, which is what I did in my Yang Chen, I think you get a great representation of, like, how you could put it together. Anyhow, I might get into talking about that costume later. But that was a video I really wanted to do, and I'm, like, still weighing it, like, should I put the effort into doing it? Because it's something I do want to talk about, but, yeah, let me see. Yeah, hi everyone. Anyone that hasn't been around. Jesus. Hello. Good to see you back again. Well, we'll see how long it lasts. I just felt like I needed to do some stream. And I figured might as well just talk about stuff. Plus, I plan to kind of go through... I think I'm gonna go through my Instagram just to kind of, like, talk about some things, because there's a lot of shit that happened this year. If you only follow me on YouTube, it looks like I've been dead the whole time. I promise you I have not. I have just been working on real life stuff, being an adult, you know, having a normal job and all that jazz. But there's definitely some things that I know some of you are probably aware that I helped work out on, which I'll talk about a little bit, but I have to be careful how much I talk about because gotta keep things exclusive for like backers and stuff. But yeah. Let me look through stuff. Aging in costumes is so good when it's done right. I agree. So something that, we'll come back to that. Because there's a whole, I want to talk about AWA, which happened last weekend. I want to talk about AWA, because a lot of shit happened that weekend. And there's a lot of things that kind of coincide with it. So yeah, let's see. That's a whole year without making money. Also, you're quiet. Up your volume on OBS by 0.5. I can do that. Thank you. Actually, what I'm gonna do is my audio interface is gonna go up. Hold on. Alright, that should be better, because without artificially giving gain to my mic and OBS, I can't turn it up. Okay, let's see. Bombonomicon looks bomb. Yeah, I'm actually pretty proud of my Bombonomicon. It's a few years old by this point, but I think it was a really good use of foam clay that I did not sand down because it's supposed to look like skin. But oh wow, my bot in my server that I have not talked in actually works. I can't wait for everyone to start leaving because they realized they were still in my server that I don't talk in. When did you upgrade the camera quality? I didn't. Okay, so this camera is my phone, so I can't use my phone at all while I'm streaming. I'm using a thing called Camo Studio. However, I did make a rash decision. I was like, I want to get like 1080p 60 frames per second, and I don't want the stupid watermark. I'll go buy the lifetime subscription for $100. I'll probably regret it, especially if I don't stream, but yeah, I am using my phone as the camera because it is 10 times better than any of the webcams we have in this apartment. Nice camera on that phone. Yeah, my phone is a... What iPhone are we up to? It's the one before this last one. Is it a 16 Pro Max? I think it's a 16 Pro Max, so it's a good camera. 17? Yeah, so if 17 was this year, it's a 16. Yeah, I'm on a 16 Pro Max. It's a really good camera. It's the ones that I basically I have to take all my pictures with, because I don't own a real camera. All I got is a phone, guys. I'm not a photographer. But yeah. Let's see. What do you guys want me to talk about? I have a feeling I know what you'd want me to talk about. But I kind of like, I want to get there when we get there naturally. So, I'll talk about the most recent thing. So, if you don't know, I attend annually Anime Week in Atlanta, which is an anime convention in Atlanta, Georgia. I decided this year that I was going to enter the costume contest a couple weeks out from the con. But I had decided that because I had gotten so much progress over Thanksgiving, over the Thanksgiving break, on a costume that I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can get it done, and I can get a build book done in time. So, I entered the Anime Week in Atlanta costume contest. And I actually got Best Other Media. So, for reference, the awards that they give out are 3 judges' awards, which are each chosen by the 3 judges, which, more context if you do not know, this was a craftsmanship cosplay contest, which means they were purely judging you based off of your craftsmanship. You had a pre-judging session about 3 to 5 minutes long, where you go up to them and you tell them, hey, I made this, 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 and this, and I made it this way. This is why I made it this way. These are the techniques I use. This is the creative solutions I use. This is why I decided to do this instead. Blah, blah, blah. So there's the 3 judges awards. There was best video game, best anime, and then best other, which is the one I got. And then there was best in the skill categories. So there was best novice, intermediate, masters, and then best in show. So I was lucky enough to take away best other. Really wish I knew, like, competitor-wise who was in the other category, because it was a little bit, I was a little unsure, because it kind of depended on what the person themselves entered themselves into category-wise. And so when I went up and I, like, registered, they're like, so we see you are an Avatar costume. Would you like to be an anime or other? And I said, I am not re-sparking this 20-year-old debate. Put me in other. And thank God I did. But yeah, let's see. Been watching for years. This is a crazy thing to wake up to. Hi, welcome to the annual stream at this point. Jesus Christ. So, here, I'm going to switch to, I'm going to switch scenes. I'm going to just pull up my Instagram because it's kind of the easiest way to, like, source pictures without having to pull them up into, like, Photoshop so that you guys can see everything. So, I think it's this one. And then I need to change something on the camera setting real quick. There's a filter. There we go. Okay. Let me get display capture. Yeah, okay. So, any more TF2 content? I don't know. I make what I want. But I'm gonna talk about not TF2 stuff right now because this happened this past weekend. I'm just trying to, I'm reading through comments just to make sure before I kind of go on my rants and stuff. Yeah, okay, so this is the costume that I entered. This is Avatar Yang Chen, if you're not familiar. This is a previous Avatar from the last Airbender franchise. This is the Air Nomad before everyone's beloved Aang. So, I had been meaning to put Yang Chen together since, like, March of this year. I got all most of the materials I needed from Joann's when they were shutting down, which was also a problem later because I couldn't source the materials in time, so there were a few issues that I couldn't fix because I didn't have the ability to. But, so, Avatar Yang Chen, was kind of the first costume that I built from the ground up to be competition worthy. So what this meant is I made fucking damn near everything. Here, I'll just pull up the overview. I made damn near everything that weren't the wig and the boots. And the wig, even then, I styled correctly and however you need to do that shit. And I was like, I want this thing to be able to win an award. So I self-patterned everything. I kind of altered things to add a little bit more realism. The staff is actually borrowed from Korra. The reason I'm using that staff is because I did not have the time to make a staff that was more correct for Yang Chen. So I kind of had to go with that. Plus, the staff I wanted to make would have actually been against Anime Weekend Atlanta's rules. I'm just gonna call it for AWA from now on. It was against their rules because I wanted to make it completely out of wood. But they have a thing against, like, anything that's, wood that's bigger than a baton, and that definitely would have been, like, bigger than a baton. So, yeah, so I was like, okay, so to make this competition worthy, not only do I have to make as much as I physically possibly can, but I need to self-pattern it because I'm really weird about using patterns. It's something I need to fix. I need to be okay with using pre-made patterns, but I fucking patterned everything. I sewed everything using machine and hand sewing. The robes have blind hem stitches, which apparently the judges were like, this is fantastic. We can't see this until, like, we go up to it and, like, flip it. I didn't realize that, but I had also been staring at this damn thing for God knows how many hours, so I saw every little issue. But I also was like, okay, so I'm bringing this into real life. I need to add weathering, because I know judges go feral for adding realism and weathering. And I kind of wanted to make it a little bit dirty instead of, you know, looking exactly like the Netflix issues of this is brand new, there's not a speck of dirt on it. So I basically just slapped a mixture of tea and paint all over the robes, which I think this picture, nope, that's pretty sure I uploaded. Did I upload the picture somewhere? Oh, maybe I didn't. I've got a compilation picture of like details up close, but yeah. So this costume got me best other, and they really liked my blind hem. My work was very clean. The only like really big complaint they had, and it was something I didn't know, so I need to go fix it. But apparently one of the judges specializes in those Chinese collars, and Yang Chen actually has two for some godforsaken reason, because she has an undershirt, but I was like, I can't get, one, I don't want to keep bulking up material, two, I don't want to get new material, so I basically just made the two collars out of the same material as the robe, and it's actually a false collar, so it's not a real shirt, it's the collar, it's a square of fabric, and that's it. And there's some Velcro right here, so I can get into it. Apparently, my collar wasn't properly attached. I didn't realize that. But she's like, the only reason I know that is because, like, this is my thing. So as soon as I clocked it, I'm like, cool. So I think I know how to fix it, but assuming I understood what her feedback was. But, so the first thing I made on this costume that was actually part of Yang Chen was the amulet. And you can see, like, it existed, like, way back in March. Hold on. Because that was the thing I was like, I'm gonna make this, which means I'm gonna make Yang Chen at some point. Yeah. So I had made this, like, way back when, and then the costume just got put on hiatus because I was too busy with other stuff that I'll talk about later. But, yeah, so I had been planning lightly to do this for, like, 9 months. But it got put to... if you don't count the amulet, the rest of Yang Chen, which also doesn't include the staff, got put together in a week and a half. I just went into a fervor when Thanksgiving rolled around because with the way Thanksgiving works, I ended up having a few days, like 5 days off in a row because of how my work schedule worked out for the holidays. So the robe, the coat, the dickie, the sash, the false sleeves, fucking everything, the tattoos, all got done in a week and a half. I just sat down and, like, chugged it out. So, hold on, let me change it to this real quick. I am going to pull up a couple of things that I seem to have not actually posted on here. Let's see. Because, like, oh, well, you're gonna get the fuck you one for a moment, because I'm not switching it. Hold on. I am really proud of how this turned out. I think it is by far, like, quality-wise, the best. Paige, go away! She did nothing but Yang Chen for 2 full weeks. This is an accurate statement. I crank that shit out. Where is... yes, I am in the right... Okay, so it's edited... Did I put this one in my, like, normal folder? Hold on. On site... Yeah, okay, cool. Let me just pull this up. I'm pulling Photoshop up anyhow. I missed you. I almost forgot I subscribed to you. I think most people forget I exist, because I don't make consistent content, especially on YouTube. Okay, so... fucking guys, you don't understand. Let me pull up. Where is... Oh, I need to go to the build book. Okay, so you can see the tattoos don't look like Aang's, because my goal, like I said earlier, was to kind of combine all versions of the tattoos that have ever been shown in the visual medium, which is Aang's, which is the modern ones. There's the ones from Avatar 1's era, which were I'm going to call them the Ancient Airbenders. And then there were the 2 live actions. So my goal was to kind of combine everything and make a bit of a cohesive one, even though it's random ass swirls that I just drew. I saw so many iterations of those tattoos. I'll pull up the build book, because I plan to, like, post the build book here in the near future. I just burned my 6-9-month sub alert on that. Go back to work. Go slice some deli meat. Bulk has been a serious issue with some of my cosplays for DragonCon. Yeah, my very, very first cosplay, technically, was 2014 DragonCon, and I made the dumbass decision to do Medic. I did all of Medic. Rubber gloves, the coat, the undershirt, the tank top, or not the tank top, the dress shirt, and the vest. Don't do that. For the love of God, do, in my personal opinion, and this is something I will continue to preach, if it doesn't need to be seen and will never be seen while you have the costume on, it doesn't need to exist. So when I pull my build book up, you'll see the fall sticky, you'll see the false sleeves, which was kind of funny because I wore this in the middle of December. My elbows were actually freezing going outside because the wind was going straight through the linen and my elbows weren't covered with anything. So I'm just like standing there. I'm like, my elbows are really, really nippy. I didn't know you were alive. I was too focused on Animal Crossing to check my phone notifications. Well, it was really just based on YouTube and Twitch sending them out. And I think Discord did. But, yeah, so in these pictures you can see the detail on the sash. That's all tea and paint just to kind of give a little bit of grit. The other weathering, it's very, very subtle weathering. I didn't want to blast it with sandpaper to, like, screw up the linen material because like I said, I bought this at Joann's and Joann's doesn't fucking exist anymore. So I couldn't get a proper material match. I couldn't get the same material. And I was running out of time, so I was just like, I gotta do this carefully, so I just slapped on some tea and paint. Also, look at my giant forehead. One of the reasons why I was like, I'm gonna do Yang Chen is because I have the hairline to pull it off. That was honestly one of the reasons I was like, I can get away with this. So let's see. Wonder how many people are not happy I'm not talking about TF2. Don't worry guys, I'll get to TF2. There is a very notable thing I did this year that is you'll be very interested in if you don't know. But can I just pull up my build book? Hold on. I need to, like... Yeah, give me 1 second. Prop materials, build books. Where's the PDF? There's the PDF. Okay. Yeah. This is fine. So I'm gonna pull up the build book. I'll go. So, for context, if you don't know what this is, a build book is basically a reference book that you hand prejudges at a craftsmanship cosplay contest. Most of the time it's required, sometimes it's optional. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are entering a prejudged craftsmanship contest, you better fucking have a build book. Because this build book is basically what they use to reference not only what you told them, but once they're deliberating, this and the pictures they physically take during your session are all they have. So if you can make a build book that kind of justifies and tells the judges everything you did, it'll be easier for them to be like, yes, this person deserves to win. So, I added a character introduction and they said it was a good idea. I was really on the fence about this, but I was like, these people I have to assume do not know who this character is. And you should probably do that for every character regardless of, like, if you do like Jinx from League of Legends, I'm sure that any judge is gonna know who the hell that is. But I would still suggest having one page that just introduces the character, because if you can also tie it into why you made certain decisions, which I do, that'll probably, like, really help. So this is just me saying, like, oh, she's based off of a monk, air nomad culture, blah, 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 blah. So then I also have the discovery and inspiration page, which is basically, this is the reference material. This is me saying, this is what I used to design the costume. These are the reference pictures I used. So here I basically say that I wanted to create one that was faithful to the animated version, but I also wanted to combine some real world design. So that's why there's pictures of live action Aang and this random air nomad woman, which is not Yang Chen, and then this random fucking Yang Chen that appears for like a single second in the intro to the Netflix show. So that was just me basically being like, yeah, so I wanted to go with that. And then I talk about the materials for the outfit, which I basically say linen and cotton make the most sense because they're monks. They would live off of nature, and it's a breathable material, which would be great for feeling the air. This is the digital version, but here I actually plastered swatches of the materials I used. Obviously, I can't translate that into the digital version, so just assume there's squares of fabric here. So after that, I break it down based on the overcoat. So I'm really bad at getting pictures and documenting work, which is one of the reasons why I don't like make cosplay videos. It's because I'm really, really bad at recording myself working on something, because I kind of just get into it and I just go. And I'm like, I don't want to slow myself recording something. So this is me talking about the overcoat. In all of the sections, I added these bullet points up here, which basically stated, like, these are the skills shown in this piece of the costume. So this is just in progress photos, me talking about, like, oh, this is machine sewn, this was hand sewn, which was the hem around it, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with the robe. You can see I have an undershirt on because for warmth purposes, but yeah. My poor iPhone camera is so bad when I try to take cosplay photos. Oh, some of these are dog shit. It's honestly an amazement you can even see some of the detail. Like, I tried my best, but one of the things when you are taking pictures, you need to make sure you have a good lighting source, because iPhone cameras will try desperately to correct for low light, and it turns out really, really grainy. So you need to just shine a light on it and make sure it's visible. Anyhow, here's the undershirt. This is what I'm saying about this. Listen, in this household, we love Dickies. Dickies are a godsend, because I have a tendency to do a lot of very layered cosplays, like Medic. And on Medic, I wear the same thing. I wear this well, not exact same thing, but I wear the same concept. So I don't have to wear a dress shirt underneath. But yeah, so this is my Dickie, little false collar. This is the medallion. So I'm a dumbass, and like I said earlier, the medallion was the first thing I made of this costume. I did not take any fucking in progress pictures. So I basically had to just draw a diagram out showing, like, how the hell it worked, because I needed to kind of, like, show that this is indeed 3 wooden discs that I glued together, but the middle disc was cut out so it channeled the cord, so it sits exactly like this and doesn't ever move. Just please, if you plan on entering something into a contest, please, for the love of God, do in progress photos, or this is like the best you can get, is just draw out something afterwards. This is the sash. Not a whole lot here. This one has the most visible weathering effects, in my opinion. These are my false sleeves, because I didn't want to make a second sleeve dress, to be quite honest. It's held on with elastic and a little bit of help from fabric tape, because fabric tape is a godsend. And the orange bands are held on with a button that you obviously can't see. So there's the tattoos. This is the one, like, digital medium thing that I could just get nice, clean screenshots of. Here you can see the Illustrator artboard with all of my reference pictures, which kind of proves I used all of these in the design. But these are put on with temporary tattoo paper that I just printed out on my printer. Absolute pain in the ass to get off, by the way. Holy shit, that adhesive does not come off. And yeah, I don't even know what's going on the YouTube stream. I think people might have like bailed because it wasn't TF2 related, but hey, they'll miss out. I will be talking about TF2 in a bit. But yeah, so 4 head, yay, 5 head. But yeah, I basically just printed out a bunch, so I have like a bag of arrows that I can apply when I need it. And the wig, fuck wigs. I hate wigs with a burning passion. Crimped it to give it volume. And also to prevent tangling, blah blah blah. This is a lace front wig, which I am realizing I probably cut too much of the lace off. So it's a little hard to actually keep the lace down when I wear it. But yeah, so I had to pluck the hairline because the wig itself started with a widow's peak, and Yangchen like very much does not have a widow's peak. So that was like the one thing I was like, I really need to alter on this wig, so I just individually pluck them out. I wish I could make the braid start lower, because in reality, I think it starts like past her shoulders is when the braid starts, but the problem is like there's a bunch of individual hair that's used for layer, or like individual hairs used for layering that's not that long. So if I did that, it would just, all the hair would just come out, and I fucking hate wigs, and I don't know how to secure it down outside of hairspray and a prayer. So yeah, so that's the wig. This is the staff. The staff, again, this is actually Korra's staff that I borrowed because I needed a prop. And funny enough, that was the thing that they criticized the most, because they're like, your water and fire are really cartoony. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it wasn't actually intended for this costume. But they're like, so you need to, in the future, you need to make sure all of your costume and your props kind of work with the theme you're going for. Because, like, I made it very apparent I was trying to go for a little bit of realism. But the way the fire and the water were done made it look very cartoony. So I was like, I totally understand what you're saying. I will absolutely keep that in mind. They like the idea I did with the air, though, which was I basically used the ribbon to hide the wire, and you can see it here because of the way it's hitting it, but it does make it really hard to see the like silver wire. And then I added the leaves because I thought it looked better to have something. And they really liked my painting on my rocks for some reason. I thought that was interesting. One of the judges, when I went to the feedback session, was like asking me about my airbrushing, and I told them I don't own an airbrush. Everything that's painted was done by hand with dry brushing and makeup sponges. So it's like I own a physical airbrush. It is sitting in the craft room. I do not own a compressor, therefore I cannot use the airbrush. So everything was just done by hand. I imagine the adhesive is like those medical patches in ways of getting them off. I don't think it's as strong as a medical patch, but I'll tell you right now, everything I was trying to do was not working. I heard olive oil worked really well. Didn't fucking work. I tried, like, rubbing alcohol. Didn't work. Water and soap. Didn't work. So after that, it's obviously gone by now, but I just had sticky adhesive all through my arms, because I got the head one off no problem. And I think it's because I sweat more on my head than I do on my hands, so the adhesive probably wasn't as strong, but my hands were just sticky for the next 2 to 3 days. The air and earth parts of the staff look superb. Thank you! Those are the ones that actually had reworks early on. Because, so, the rock was basically, the concept was there, but I only had like 4 or 5 rocks. And I'm not gonna lie, kinda looked like an anal bead. So when I was when I was done with the rest of Yangchen, and I was like, I want to kind of do what I can in the time that I have left to kind of fix up this prop. The thing that I've like really wanted to do was like, I need to add to the rocks. So these two pictures, this top picture, no, actually both of them, I forgot I replaced them. These rocks are the ones that I added. You can see on this bottom one that these are already on the wire. Those are the rocks that existed prior. These white ones that are not finished yet, those are the ones that I ended up adding. And I basically added with another wire so that it kind of like wrapped around the original. And I was like, I need more rocks. I needed more. So I did the exact same thing that I did the first time. I took foam balls, carved them out shittily, sealed them with Mod Podge, because Mod Podge was the cheap way out and it's not meant to be bent. And I just kind of went from there. I've seen people use pantyhose to secure braids on their wigs, especially with Jinx wigs. Yeah, so I wanted to try that. I originally tried that with my honey costume, but it was a ponytail and not a braid, so it wasn't turning out well. The weird thing with Yang Chen, though, is it's not, the whole thing's not a braid. It, like, starts the braid lower than it should, and I'm not sure how that'll turn out, because I feel like you'll be able to see where that pantyhose starts. That's the problem I have with that. I do want to try it at some point, but I don't think I can do it with Yang Chen without it looking weird. Okay, yeah, and here's the breakdown that I was sitting on. So, yeah, that's my Yang Chen. That's, that is my build book. Here's me winning. This is the only pictures Paige could get. She wasn't, like, in the front. She was a few rows back. These are, like, the only pictures she could get. So it's, like, really grainy. But, I'm waiting for I'm hoping that they put out the video of the full contest, because I really, really want to watch the contest in full with a calm mind, because fuck God, guys, I was panicking the whole time. Even when we were just sitting down waiting, I was just like, please get it over with, please get it over with, just end. I want this to end. I want this. I just need to see the results and then I want to go home. So I think if I watch it, I'm really bad at facial expressions, and I honestly didn't know what to do with Yang Chen. I figured, like, no expression was probably the best anyhow, so, which works out for me. Here's a really bad candid shot of my face holding the trophy. But yeah, so here's the other winners. I really like the magic that was next to me, because I'm a really, really big fan of people who do non-default outfits. So what I mean by that is I love, so let's say someone does bog standard tracer. Cool, it's a bog standard tracer. Someone does like the graffiti tracer. Oh, cool, I really like that, because it's not just default. You're getting into the game, you're choosing a skin that you actually like and is different and is more unique than tracer, bog standard tracer. A really bad example, but I really appreciated that. He was also, his costume was really good for someone who said he was new. The sword, you can't really see it there, but the sword was well built. He won a judge's award. I think he won a judge's award. I'm not 100% remembering, but I think he was a judge's award. The Frieren next to him was the best anime. The one next to me, who is apparently Phantom of the Opera, and I didn't know that because I don't watch the Broadway stage show, she was a judge's award. And then I think the ones next to her were also a judge's award. They pointed out the detail and the use of material for these two. This person right here is wearing a dress that was sewn out of burlap, which just sounds so incredibly uncomfortable to me. Let's see. Serenity is the best expression for Yang Chen. Yeah, that, or just like, cause like, I didn't, happy Yang Chen just doesn't sound super right to me. But yeah, let's see. I don't recognize that as anything Phantom of the Opera. They were labeled as Phantom of the Opera. I think it's the Broadway show. There was a reference picture when they went up, but I don't have a picture of that. So I believe, okay, the Jinx got best intermediate. The only thing I remember them talking about was using hex codes to get like the exact code, the color for her prop. That's all I remember hearing. And then you will never guess what this dude in the middle place, this Dark Souls man. He was entered into Novice and he won Best Novice. That is incredible work for quote unquote novice. From my understanding, he's only been working on cosplay for a year, but he has a mentor who is very, very well known in the Dark Souls and Elden Ring scene, who very clearly was able to like get him to do all this work. I'm not saying the mentor did it, no, not at all, but he had an expert in his field helping him along the way, and it's like, oh yeah, you can definitely see that this is incredible work. He apparently used real soot for detailing on the helmet. Incredible job. Really, really good up close. The one next to him, I believe, was Best Child. Yes, she was Best Kid. They got Best Masters, I believe. I think they cobbled their own shoes, and that's usually something that a lot of judges like love seeing, is if you fully make your shoes from scratch, because it's a hard skill. It's a skill that costs a lot of money and a lot of specific tools. But they did very good work. I don't know what else to say. They made pretty much damn near everything. And then these guys were unsurprisingly best in show. They are they are Elden Ring, if you can't tell based on the grit and the armor and the fantasy shit. Fucking great costumes. Like really, it's one of those things of like, yeah, I absolutely understand best in show. Like this makes 100% sense. There is like every single skill you could do in this, and it's done really well. Me when Pseudo Regalia OST. Dude, I love Pseudo Regalia. What a great game. Yeah, here's the Freer. This guy was a Monster Hunter. He got video game. He got best video game. Listen, I'm not an expert on fursuits, but that thing looked really good. The mouth also moved, so when they went on stage, they were like miming stuff. His eye holes are actually somewhere on this rune in his hat. When he put it on, it was like, okay, so he has to be able to see somewhere. It's actually really subtly done. You can't see it in this picture, but there's a very small portion of grading so that he can see at least. I mean, the field of view's gotta be shit regardless, but it's so he can actually walk. It was a really, really well done suit. And there's like weathering on everything. It was just really good. And his handler, I don't know if his handler was on stage. I assume his handler had to be on stage somewhere, but his costume was also good. Can I review Chatter's cosplays one day? That's actually not a bad idea. Keep in mind, I'm not a judge. I can only, judge based on my own personal experience, what I've seen, stuff like that. The only reason I'm a little hesitant to do that is I can be very blunt. I can be very blunt about stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, I can look at something and be like, okay, I'm coming at this from a super novice perspective. But then part of me overrides that in like, okay, they're a novice, but I want to give them honest feedback, even if it starts getting a little bit too technical and stuff like that. Again, I like that idea, but I can get mean. Or I can get unintentionally mean. How about that? Also, it is a little bit hard to... Actually, it's quite hard to fully review and give feedback to a costume when you can't physically see and feel it. So there's stuff like materials, especially because I'm not a textiles expert. There's stuff like materials that are really hard to tell in pictures sometimes. I can't flip your shit inside out and like see if there's just raw edges everywhere or how your hemming is worked. Like that's where it gets a little bit hard. Broad view things of like, oh, maybe you probably shouldn't have done like I don't know, rubber gloves for a medic, just for comfort reasons. Like, maybe you shouldn't do that, just so you don't suffer. Stuff like that. Like, I could do that. But, is that the... Yeah, that's the last. Don't think I have... Don't have great pictures from, the contest. Because, clearly I did not have my phone. These are all taken with my phone, because... Yangchen doesn't have pockets, unfortunately. The pants I was wearing under for, like, modesty purposes have pockets, but that would have required me to, like, fully pull everything up to the sash and just try to shove it in, which just, I was like, no, I also need to make sure I don't have anything in my pockets while I'm on stage. But, yeah, so that was AWA's costume contest. We also did our, panel at AWA, which, as far as I know, went swimmingly. It was the first time that I actually got a chance to co-host. So, context, my friends and I run a video game music trivia panel at every con that we can enter it into. And usually the setup is, my friend Alex is the main host, and Paige is the co-host, while myself and my other friend Hamilton are behind the scenes working on tracking and actually working on the visuals. Because the way we do the visuals is we do it through an OBS setup where the Stream Deck, I can pull up everything individually. So it's not a PowerPoint. So, this is the first time that I actually got a chance to co-host, and Paige ended up taking over the technical side of things, because she would be the most familiar with the setup because she sees me put it together and practice it constantly. So, that went pretty smooth as far as I could tell. Trying to think what else. It's a fun panel. If you guys ever see it, you should go to it. We, very meticulous about our choices. There were a lot of 2025 choices, and that was something I was really trying to, like, get them to rein back on when we were setting up the list for, like, oh, these are the songs we're wanting to pull in for our AWA list. And I think they might have started going a little out of order because I kept seeing 2025, 2025, 2025. I'm like, guys, please spread the 2025s out. Was it finally at a good time and not like 9 in the morning or 9 at night? We never get nighttime ones. So the one bad times that we got, the first bad time we got, which was something we learned after we talked to the coordinator, is the coordinators try their best to work around the times that you give them when you're submitting a panel. And we made the mistake our first year of being like, we could do it at 10:30 in the morning till like 10 at night. So of course they gave us a 10:30 slot at AWA on a Sunday morning after a rave. So we learned that real quick. And then the following year, we were given the opportunity to have a much bigger not main stage panel, but like the secondary main stage. And we gambled. We gambled a like 10:45, and it ended up with a horrible attendance. So we know from experience, like, we have to give them the realistic times of this is when we can realistically run the panel because we need audience participation. And I think 12 p.m. is the earliest we can possibly do one, because that's when people really start showing up. I think the sweet spot is like 1 or 2, so that you get people like just getting back from lunch or getting out of the vendor hall for the first time. Yeah, no, it went well. There's not much more to say on that. Saturday was a good day. It was a good day. So, let's talk about some other stuff, because I know you guys don't want to keep hearing me talk about... Hold on, let me change things real quick so I can check something. I don't even know how many people on YouTube are watching. I don't have, like, the numbers for... Actually, I don't have the numbers for any of you people. Hi, hello. Alright. So, let's start from the what is the beginning? This is... I hate that it says 42 weeks ago. Okay, so this is AWA last year. Yeah, okay, so... Actually, let me go with the overview, because the overview is kind of a good way to talk about stuff. So this was the overview I put together for 2025. Strange urge to replay Battle for Bikini Bottom again. It's a good game. Rehydrated was pretty decent. I mean, I made a video on Rehydrated if you want to know my thoughts. I got beef with some of that game from a beta perspective, but yeah, so these are kind of the highlights. So for my milestones were I finally went into properly tackling wig styling. I fucking hate wigs, and really the only reasons I've started doing wigs is they're basically mandatory for costume contests, especially if the character has like an insane hairstyle that doesn't match your own. So I kind of had to go into that. I have not properly gotten a helmet wig done yet though. I have failed every time I've tried to do a helmet wig. I have another idea on how to tackle it. I just need to get around to doing it, and yeah. So, for reference, the two helmet wigs that I have fucked up are the ring fit wig, which was supposed to be like flames, and an administrator wig, which just did not work. I finally got a sewing machine. Technically got it like in December, but it was a Christmas present, so I got it a little early. And the sniper vest was the first like really big thing that I made on it, and I'm decently happy with how the sniper vest turned out. There's a lot of little issues that like you wouldn't know unless I mentioned it. That like one day I'd like to go back, and if I do the plan I'm wanting to do, I do have to go back and remake it, so that'd be an excuse. I also participated in the largest TF2 photo shoot that I've ever personally attended, and that was Dragon Con this past year. There was like 60 people, I think. I think it's like a dime a dozen between if it was MomoCon or Dragon Con was the largest, but I think it was Dragon Con. It's hard to tell because like some people weren't in some pictures, or they had to leave, or they didn't show up till the end. I think it was Dragon Con. And then Yangshen, which we already talked about, which was my most self-made costume. So, this is a contest that I entered too. I actually did incredibly well looking back on it. Because these are also, I entered 4 costumes or 4 contests, and I placed in 4 contests. So that was really good. I think it's me catching up because I have been cosplaying for over a decade. I just haven't started competing until recently. So, yeah, they were all relatively small. AWA was definitely the largest costume contest, and honestly most well put together one that I had entered. The first one, which is Marietta the Gathering, was a really small event. Like, really small. Then Muscle Nerds at MomoCon was more a performance-based event because one of the things that they pretty much were just judging you on was your body and your routine. And I definitely know what I fucked up on the routine, and that's not including the fact my shoe flung off when I stepped onto the stage, which you can kind of see in this picture because my foot does not have a shoe on it right there. You can see the shoe a little bit peeking out that left side. That is my sock. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know, like, what I did wrong on that. But I got 3rd in that one for women's, and let me tell you, trying to do it's not pictured here, trying to do an overhead, oh shit, what is it called? An overhead bend where I have to split my legs and lean all the way over when one foot had no fucking traction was really hard. But yeah, so then I entered Sonic Expo Atlanta with a refurbished Honey, which I'll talk about in a second. And I got Best Intermediate! Yay, I could finally stop entering Honey. That was the 2nd time I entered Honey into a contest. Sorry, 3rd time. I entered Sonic and Sega Fan Jam in 2022. And then I entered it into a Japan Fest in 2023. And I did not win either. So I was like, okay, that's a great excuse for me to rework it. Yay, I finally stopped reworking Honey. Honey is a pain in my ass. And then I got Best Other Media. So, Sniper was like the main TF2 costume I revised this year, and that was really because I finally got a chance to make my own sniper vest. But I also made the Darwin's Danger Shield because I wanted a prop that nobody ever does, nobody ever represents, and I honestly just wanted one of the backpack props. I was this close to doing like a lazier cozy camper, and I might in the future for storage purposes at a con, but I like the way my my Darwin's Danger Shield came out. Looking at it now, there are some things I would change about how I put it together and like how I would detail things, but I'd have to like remake it at that point. Yeah, that was Sniper. Specifically the Sonic Honey and not the Fighting Vipers. Yes, it was very specific. Well, it was for Sonic Expo. It was very specifically the Sonic the Fighter's Honey, but I did the comic version of her because I fucking hate the poofy sleeves on Honey. And also the comic version was just easier to pull off anyhow. But we'll get to that in a second. So, another one that I was really happy to finally do is Ring Fit Trainee. It, like I say here, it was a personal step for me because it's by far the most revealing costume I've ever done. I don't like showing a lot of skin, and I kind of had to push myself for this one because she shows a fair bit of skin. But it was something I really wanted to do. I love Ring Fit. I think it is a great underrated game. I really want Nintendo to do a second one, or at the very least properly like get it onto the Switch 2, because trying to play Ring Fit on the Switch 2 is a giant pain in the ass. First off, you can only play Ring Fit using the Switch 1 Joy-Cons because the peripherals that are required are not compatible with the Switch 2 controllers. But the problem is there's pairing problems, at least with the two pairs of controllers I have, and it's really finicky to get the controllers to pair, boot up the game, make it so that the controllers are still paired to then play the game. It's way more of a pain in the ass than it should have been. I also made my soldier for that. The soldier sashes, the sash, the belt, the pouches, or the two front pouches, and the founding father were completely made by me. The grenades are unfinished prints from Prop Fortress. The helmet is a fully finished print from Prop Fortress that we finished ourselves. Making the founding father for Soldier kind of told me that I am incapable of of patterning and sizing shit to someone that's not my body, because I realized, and this was after the fact, and I couldn't correct it by this point because once again couldn't get the fucking materials. I realized that I had been fixing the issues with my first go at the pattern with the way I would fix it for myself, and I have very weird proportions, as you can probably tell from Ring Fit. It's a very good showcase of like how fucking weird my upper chest proportions are in comparison to everything else. And I had realized I had accidentally changed Soldier in that way. So on page, you can't see it here, but on page she can't really move her shoulders up because there's like this much material that's just there and trapped. It's just a giant triangle of nothing. I did a lot of the objector. Oh yeah, you did do a lot of the objector. The quote-unquote wood depart, which we should remake that at some point, by the way. You won't like it, but I think we could improve it. And also improve the attachments. I have to move like Lurch in that thing. Yeah, it's not well fit. I didn't make it long enough either, which is an issue. It should really be like probably an inch or two longer on the lapels. I just didn't make it as long as it needed to, but the material can never find it again. So I have to just get new material if I ever make another one. So yeah, Ring Fit. I love Ring Fit. The prop, I'm really proud of how the prop turned out. The 3D print portions were made by Plastic Grove, who I commissioned for them because I was like, dude, there's so much detail on Ring's face. I can't carve that out of foam clay. That shit's not happening. Plus, I was like, oh, I think I could do the handles. And then I started looking at the material of the handles, and I was like, can you just print the handles, please? It's not happening. So, yeah. I did the rest of the ring, I did the foam portions, and the paint job, which I'm like, there was one thing on the paint job that, like, I kind of regret doing, but it's one of those things of, it's too late now. I'd have to take it apart and redo it entirely. Now I go back to work, go back to making sandwiches. So I also did vacation pawling this year. This was probably one of the more minor ones. This was the year I finally started doing a wig for pawling too. This is the non-fucked up wig, I believe. I think this is version 2 because I screwed up the bangs so badly on my other black wig that my hairdresser couldn't even... He couldn't salvage it, that's how bad it was. I believe this is the second wig. So, as much as I wanted to design my own Hawaiian shirt, every single site that offered those services had the worst fucking designer editor in existence. So not only was it horrible to try and design it myself because you couldn't just upload a print. No, you had to use their editor. And it was also extremely expensive. So I did the best job I could at finding as close to her vacation shirt as I could. And I think I got pretty damn close. There's more blue. She has it is a gradient on the picture. I don't have the picture on hand, the reference picture on hand. And there is more down there, but with how high the skirt goes, you can't see. You can see a little bit of it. But I think it's really damn close. I had to take it in though. It was like two sizes too big. I had to take everything in. I was like, all right, I'm putting it on myself and I'm pinning the shit out of it and I'm just gonna do a straight stitch through because I do not care to like actually tailor it properly. But yeah, so it was also my first attempt at a resin, which you can see on this. It looks pretty good from afar. Just don't look at the back of it because it came off a lot. The resin job's not great, but it 3 attempts in. You know what? I actually have it right here. 3 attempts in, and it's honestly fine. So I was like, I really, really want to make the drink prop. So you can see a little bit. There's bubbles where the resin job just didn't go very well. But this was the best one of 3 attempts. Whoop, there goes the line. And you can see the super glue is not holding very well, but I don't really intend to take this out unless I do vacation calling again. Accidentally got resin on the umbrella, which I cannot get off anymore because it is in there. This umbrella is not coming out, and if it does, it breaks. I can't see anything. Listen, the fact you can't see anything's good. I always love your Pawlings, especially the look you had for Meet the Real Medic. Oh, we'll get there soon. Something I actually realized during Meet the Real Medic is I really, really, really needed a new Miss Pawling. I really need a new pencil skirt. The pencil skirt I have is actually way, way too big, and I've been using it for years, and I haven't, like, properly fixed it, but the problem is if I properly fix the shape of it, I will not be able to walk. So I think that might be one of those things where I kind of fudge. I say fuck the, like, the accurate materials, and I think I just get something with a stretchy, with some stretch to it so I can actually move, but when I'm standing there, it's actually conformed to my shape. But yeah. Was I wearing a wig for that shoot? Yes, oh, no, I wasn't. I did not, so, in Meet the Real Medic, they are only going to have me as a silhouette, so I was like, 1, okay, I don't need the wig for it. 2, there's no chance in hell you're getting me to bring a already styled wig onto our luggage, which is already bursting at the seams with a bunch of shit we need for this entire week. So it was just one of those things of like, we're gonna get my hair to look like whatever it needs to just for the silhouette, and we're gonna fudge it from there. Like, I was not wearing a wig for that. So any of the photos you see of me in polling, I do not have a wig. Okay, so Pokemon breeders. I love this. So the Pokemon breeders were kind of supposed to be a bit of a low-key costume. I am never allowed to do anything half-assed. I cannot. I am incapable of half-assing costumes. So, even though the breeder outfits themselves are very simple, and all I did was paint on the symbols on our aprons, and I was like, I need a berry bucket. So I thrifted a bucket, custom made the decals to match the in-game ones, made a bunch of homemade foam berries, and then I was like, I gotta do something with my collection of Clodsires. I have too many damn Clodsires. I gotta do something with this. So I got the, like, biggest, cheapest collapsible cart I could, and I'm like, we're gonna fill them up. Now the big boy over here, this boy is a giant pain in the ass, because he is big, and he takes up a majority of this cart, which is why they're kind of like hanging over the edge, because fat ass over here is a glutton and just takes up most of the cart. But I was like, I spent too much money and time on these things. We're gonna show them off. So you can't see them here, but I made all the signs. The artwork on the signs for the like Clodsires and Fidos are just borrowed artwork from the official accounts that I just kind of altered as needed. The Clodcurious sticker there, though, like right here on the bottom right, that's fully made by myself. I spent too much time on Illustrator putting it together. But this has gone out 3 times in the past year. These are pictures from the second time when we took it out to Atlanta Comic-Con. I don't have pictures of it, but I have a video, a short that I made of what it looked like for Anime Week in Atlanta, which was near Christmas, so we kind of threw some festive shit on it. We also added a couple members, but yeah, so this is my Pokemon breeder. This is my Clod carrier. I gotta justify my poor financial choices on the Clodsires, okay? And then Honey the Cat. So, Honey is a complete revision of my original version from Sonic and Sega Fan Jam Remix. Because it wasn't a completely new costume, I kind of had to get a little creative with how I was going to alter it to not only look better, but to be able to enter the costume contest. So the dress itself is fully still the same. I just installed the hoop skirt really shittily, and you can't see it in the picture, but there's a black satin lining under it that completely covers the hoop skirt. So there's that. The wings are completely new. The wig didn't exist until now. The ears and the tail are completely new. Outside of that, everything was pretty much new. I didn't want to replace the boots, but I actually had no choice. Because, fun fact, pleather disintegrates. And the boots I had were like the cheapest, shittiest superhero boots. And so when I went to go get them, it was literally peeling. And I'm like, I can't repair this. I can't paint over this because it's straight up peeling off. So I had to get new boots, and I couldn't find the right boots. Those boots are completely painted. Those boots were black, and I painted over the whole thing, and I had to add the cuff. And the cuff was also made out of pleather because I had to make it from scratch. And then I had to also paint it the exact same shade, so it was red to begin with anyhow, but I had to get it the exact same red. And I don't know why, but for some reason I was never able to get those cuffs not tacky. They are still like sticky to this day, and I don't know why. I let it cure, I let it dry. It's just as soon as I like rubbed the coating off and then put the new paint on it, it sticks. So like shit sticks to it all the time, and I have no idea why. I genuinely couldn't figure it out. So I just had to make sure there was, like, very minimal stuff on the cuffs when I went into judging, because that would have been an issue. Yeah, I used a leather primer. I've never had the stickiness issue before on the times that I've had to paint leather or pleather. No fucking idea what was wrong with that specific version. How'd I seal the paint? I sealed it with the acrylic finish, not acrylic finisher, the leather finisher or whatever. Is that like milky looking stuff? Yeah, I've that specific attempt at painting pleather, for some reason, only the cuff material did not work, and I have no idea why. There's also actually not as many layers on the boot as there should be, but I straight up ran out of paint. That's how many coats, because it was a black boot, that's how many coats it took. You could still kind of see through it, but it's fine. Child breeders, this one's pretty quick and simple. This is just a play on the Pokemon breeders that I wanted to do this for Sonic Expo, because we were volunteering both Sonic Expo Atlanta and Dallas, and I wanted to make sure that I had something comfortable on that could also function, like, for working purposes. The backpacks are cat carriers that I just put a bunch of foliage and printouts in, and then stuck a Chow egg in there using magnets. That's the Chow breeders. And then Yangchen. We already talked about Yangchen. Okay, so... Alright, let's talk about the ones that you guys actually care about. Let me actually go... I'll be right back. Let me go take a quick restroom break. And then we'll talk about Meet the Real Medic. Okay. Dang, this is making me want to go work on a cosplay. Suffer with me. Alright, so. Let's talk about it. Those of you that have stuck around, this is your reward. Now, I will preface this with saying I probably can't talk about a lot, especially nitty-gritty on some experiences and stuff. But I can broadly, we'll figure out what I can talk about. So, for those who don't know, I was part of the production team for Meet the Real Medic, which, yes, is still happening. There has just been some delays in the second half, because we shot the first half in Seattle in September. And we got literally half of it shot. The goal of Seattle was to get any of the studio shots, which was the final hero shot of Medic and Heavy on the pile, and the end credit scene, which I will get into that, and the exterior scene, so all of the battle scenes from the intro and the climax. So, how do I talk about this? I'm trying to... I've been, like, focusing on other things, and this was, like, 3 months ago, so I'm trying to, like, go back into the recesses of my memory. So, this was the production crew for people who were on site. There were people who were not on site that were key to the project, like Ark and Cosplay, who did Medic's coat and the props and the main star props, like the quick fix and stuff. So, what you see behind us is obviously the end credit scene. Those are 3 set walls we put together in the week that we spent before shooting crafting fucking everything. I think we did a damn good job on those walls, to be completely honest. So if you're wondering why the walls look a little bit different than what it looks like in the actual short, first off, these the tape crosses over here, that's the tracking needed for the ticket, the ticket counter, whatever the hell you want to call it. No, we could not make that in a week, so we said, fuck it, we're just gonna digitally put that in. There is an actual, like, ticket taker back here that was made out of a box we got from a craft store. It actually looked really good, and that was all thanks to Chappie. But these boards back here were added because we needed a way to display all of the backer names. Because there was a tier on the Kickstarter of, we will put your name in the actual finished product. So these are pretty much all of the ones, at least all the people who had, like, responded to the backer survey by this point. I think there's been a few more added since then that obviously won't be in there and they'll be put somewhere else. But, you can't see it in these pictures, but I hand wrote every single one of those. Let me tell you, that was a pain in the ass. Because some people's names, I had to get a little creative with. There were a couple people where we had to censor, to be quite honest, but I mean, that's kind of a given. Green, I bump into them at UK cons. Yeah, Green was there. Green was the, I'll say, secondary prop designer. Obviously the Red Spy, as they're sitting in that picture. They're actually borrowing Logermeister's mask for this. It's a really, really good baklava. Baklava? It's not a balaclava, Jesus. He is not, in fact, wearing a European pastry dish. And he was also one of the soldiers. So man, labels suck. I kind of like, I touched a little bit of everything. I was on prop design, set design. For stuff that I did there, I don't quite have a good picture of this. Scout's headset was one of the big things that I worked on. We got the parts from Prop Fortress. We had a little bit of a special thing. We made 2 headsets. Actually, I have one of them because we made 2 headsets in case something went wrong. And because nothing went wrong, Logan took home his and I took home the other one. So I actually have the headset. I just gotta find it. Hold on. No, this is the wrong headset. Oh, here it is. Wait. Yes. Okay, it's in this. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the old one. Shit, where? It's here. It is here. Where in the hell did I put it? I think I'm missing a cosplay box. Hold on. These are the old ones. This is the backup box, which has our... Yeah, this is the backup box. Where is it? Is it in my spy box? No. It's not in spy. Should be. Not in plenty. Huh. I'm definitely missing a box. I know it's here somewhere. Give me a second. it is here in the apartment. I've seen it. And we have not taken it out since? No, we have not. Alright, give me 2 more minutes to look through the closet. It's somewhere here. Did I put it in this cube? It's the last place I know immediately. No way I put it in here. Alright, I can't find it. I'll have to look for it later. I know it's here somewhere. Shoot! Darn, I really wanted to show that off. I was quite proud of how it turned out. Okay, so... Yeah, so... I guess I'll talk about it. So, the Prop Forces headset was sent specifically because... It was sent in pieces because Shirk really wanted a finished, like, version because it was one of the props that was going to be the closest to the camera. So basically what happened is we got it, and I sat there for like a day and a half straight. Like one of the days was straight up me doing it non-stop from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. Was just doing everything I could with our limited resources to fill it in, sand it, prime it, paint it, blah blah blah. So trying to think how to talk about it. I always have trouble getting my Prop Forces headset to properly stay cuffed around my tiny ear. Yeah, I actually have that problem too. I've got one of the older versions that wasn't made for Meet the Romedics, so there's some differences for it. So one of the things we specifically requested for that headset was that the mic arm was actually made out of metal. So I didn't have to touch that, thank God. But it made it so it was more rigid and more sturdy. But it fit Logan pretty well. He took tumbles with his, and both of them came out with no issues. So I call that a win. One thing I can show you because I'm actually working on it. So Green, the one here, Green did all of the a lot of the additional random props. So we had a bunch of soldiers, which meant we needed shotguns, grenades, rocket launchers, stuff like that. So we got a bunch of stuff like that, and then as we were going home, there were still a few props left over, and so some of us started claiming some things. So we got a Frontier Justice, which is sitting over there. I need to fix it up. But one of them was a shotgun, and I'm actually in the process of fixing it up. Let me just switch this back. I finally got around to working on it because those props, due to time reasons, were just raw 3D prints. They were good 3D prints, don't get me wrong, but they were raw. So I was like, oh, can I have one or two to like basically practice on, because one of the things I really needed to practice on was working on filling in 3D prints, because while I'm still delaying needing to print and make things like that myself, I still want to make sure that anything that I use, at least for contests, is properly finished. And I could be like, I didn't print print the prop or make the model, but I finished it, and I mean, you know. Here we go. Okay, so I have just gotten finished properly priming it. It is ready for painting after like one more wet sand pass. So this is currently what one of the shotguns from Meet the Real Medic look like. Because, you know, it's in the process of being a finished print. This is not what it'll look like in Meet the Real Medic, but you won't be able to tell because they're going to be so far away. But it's really smooth right now, which is kind of like what you have to do. I screwed up the process though earlier. I accidentally skipped re-priming it. So underneath it is a bunch of automotive putty, and it's the red clay stuff that you smear everywhere if you've ever seen a print get finished. I made the dumb decision that after doing that, I was like, oh, I just go immediately into wet sanding it. I didn't realize you needed to hit it with another primer layer, because that shit, if that putty gets wet, it just all comes off. So I was like wet sanding, and I'm like, this is coming off a lot more than I should. So I stopped halfway through, did the proper thing, and this is the last thing I did before streaming was, I just need to do one final wet sand pass, and then I can finally start painting it. But the base is one of Green's prints. We have a rocket launcher and the Frontier Justice sitting in the living room. They are not getting finished yet. Paige wants us to paint this a war paint, but I think I'm gonna override her on that, and I think what I want to do is I want to make this just the default shotgun. Because as soon as we do a war paint, chances are the war paint chosen is going to have a team affiliation. So once we do that, it'll be stuck with either red or blue. And I'd like a default prop to carry for like any soldier, any engineer, any heavy, stuff like that. So I think I'm going to just paint this default colors and use this as a chance to practice my weathering. So I want to make sure like the edges are properly weathered. I want to kind of add some darkness around the tip to kind of indicate it's been fired, stuff like that. But yeah, this is one of the ones from Meet the Real Medic, which is just, it was a little elevated. I'm working on this one. This is for my own personal use, don't get me wrong. But this was a shotgun used on the set. It's getting a little hot. Alright, so back to this. What can I talk about? Trying to think. If you guys got any questions, I'll answer what I can, but again, there's some stuff that I'm just not at liberty to... Oh, let me fix this. I'm not at liberty to talk about. So I'll answer what I can. But yeah, for those who don't know, I did work on the set of Meet the Real Medic back in September. These, once again, are the core on-site production team. This is also a really bad picture because Instagram sucks if you do... Instagram compresses really, really badly if you don't properly follow the guidelines. I think. Oh yeah, there's a more serious picture. Oh, okay, so if you want to know why the hell I am in a pinstripe suit, so one of the stretch goals for Meet the Real Medic was doing Meet the Sandwich, because we could kind of easily, like, do that alongside, because of the way Meet the Sandwich actually needs to be shot. So, we don't have the ability and budget to get a sentry in there, and in the last sweeping shot of Meet the Sandwich, there is an engineer hitting a sentry. And we were going through it, and like I finally convinced him, because I didn't want to do the end credits scene at event initially, but I'm like, you have to do it. So we have something, and I was like, okay, we can't get a sentry, so why don't I just show up as a blue spy with a sentry mask? And they were like, yeah, sure, because I figured that's a good callback to like multiple community projects. And it's a great substitution to having to get a real sentry in there, or even just a CG sentry. Like, even then, that's a lot of time and effort to put into it. So that's the reason I'm sitting in a pinstripe suit. The other reason, that was actually a previous day shoot, which was fucking hell, mind you. I had to get into that costume in the middle of a dry creek, blasting sand in my face. And I was just like, I'm just gonna hoof it over to where we are, we're gonna do the shot, and I'm gonna go back and change, because as soon as I stepped out of the car, instantly covered in sand. I actually need to go get that suit dry cleaned, because holy shit, it is so dusty. But the reason I'm in that there is because I was like, I'm gonna take it! What little time I had, mind you. I had very little time, especially, the interior shoot days, to do anything fun. I was like, I am going to fucking utilize the fact that we have this stupid waiting room set, and I am going to get a couple of pictures. So I was just like, I'm gonna do it. You guys are in the middle of 3D scanning Gary. You don't need me. So we took a few pictures. Harrison had a lot more free time than I did that day. So if you go and look at their stuff, there's a lot more fun pictures that they, along with the extras, were able to take pictures of. I didn't get that luxury. I basically got this, which I lost a glove in the desert, so that's why I'm hiding my hand. Funny thing, these pictures, because I didn't see the pictures until after, my hand's actually poking out, so I had to go and, like, fix it up, because you could just see my ungloved hand. But I lost my glove. I lost a glove in the desert, so I thankfully got some replacement ones, but not here. So if you notice, it's really hard to notice unless you're looking for it. The glove I'm wearing here actually changes in this one because I borrow Harrison's for this picture. But yeah, here's this stupid ass sentry mask that I got to Seattle and I'm like, guys, I didn't actually make the elastic bands for the sentry mask. So we had a bunch of respirator masks, the N94s, because we were doing a shit ton of sanding and spray painting, so we're like, we need some PPE. So I just took 2 off of the back of that and slapped it on. But, yeah, so this is basically exactly what we did for the ending shot, which was done outside, so this is a different day. We did exactly this, yeah, because this is our engineer. So funny thing about that shot, and obviously I don't have footage of it, but, so, a little bit of behind the scenes, just a little bit. We did 1 day exterior shoot, and it was 3 hours outside of Seattle, and there was no signal. There was no signal for like 30 minutes outside of that area, which meant everything we needed for reference needed to be downloaded beforehand because nobody had access to the internet. Turns out, they forgot to download Meet the Sandwich. So we get to the location and we're like trying to cram it in because we were running behind schedule. And they're like, oh fuck, we don't have Meet the Sandwich. So I'm sitting there and for 10 minutes with what we have in the span of 10 to 15 minutes, I'm like, okay. And I'm going through to my head. I'm like, okay, spy and engineer need to go over here. Sniper needs to go over there and he needs to be crouching. We need the fucking demo man to just kind of look drunkenly around over here. So I basically had to try and set the shot up from pure memory in 15 minutes with, mind you, completely different terrain in terms of height that we had access to that could be filmed in a manageable way so that everyone was seen. So that was interesting. I'll say that. That was an interesting 30 minutes, I guess. But yeah, I'm trying to think. These are the only pictures I posted. So someone asks how much time was actually spent filming. So the crew, the main crew, we were there for a total of 10 days, and 3 days were filming. The exterior shoot day was the first one, and that was full on, like, 5:30 in the morning until 12. Some of us didn't get home till, like, 2 in the morning due to driving and then needing to stop for food, because it was straight up a 3-hour drive out of Seattle to get to the exterior location. So we had to get up really early, get there, set up, and then we didn't start leaving until like 11:30 because that's how long it took to break shit down and start trashing stuff. So that was one of the most exhausting days I think I've ever done. I was one of the drivers, so Paige and I were driving back, and I was just like playing on Spotify, it's a stay the fuck awake list of just, this is stuff that will keep me awake, this is stuff that will keep my eyes on the road. But yeah, so and then there was the next 2 days were shorter days, but they were still like, it was like a full work day essentially for everyone. So it was 3 days of filming, really. Did you see the TF2 cast did a dub of the final comic? I'm in that. I'd like to point out. I am in that comic. I voice the random secretary that Pauling tries to give the chunk of Australium to, and I also voice Olivia, which is actually the entire reason I did this costume in the first place. I don't mention it here because I posted it before the comic dub came out, but this is the whole reason I even was like, I'm just gonna do an Olivia cosplay. I was like, I'm obligated to at this point. How did I get that role? If you're talking about the cast dub, friends with Shork, and he was trying to get some content creator friends in on stuff. So that's the whole. There was no auditioning, if you're wondering. With the tiny desk, that's like the best trick of the angle we could do. It is actually There's nothing okay, yeah. It is actually let me move this real quick. It is this like bedside table I have. Hold on. This is bedside table I have. This is really hard. I have to like look at OBS. So I do have a quote-unquote tiny desk. There we go. My line sounded really good. Thank you! I was very, very nervous about that, and I honestly am not sure if Olivia is supposed to have a British accent, because, like, in theory, Gray is supposed to, but the two other Man brothers don't in the official voice line, so, like, I don't know what their accents are really supposed to be. But I thought Olivia was probably supposed to have a British accent, and I told Shorkan, I'm like, if you want a British accent, you're not getting it. It's not fucking happening. If you want the best performance I can give, because I'm not an actor, you have to just let me do my own voice so I can focus on the rest of it. And that's what we did. Tiny desk engineer. Let's see. So yeah, that's the whole reason I did Olivia. But yeah, I've seen the dub. I'm in the dub. I helped out with some of the additional credits. The designs used for the additional credits, so like for me or like Mick or anyone else who did like a couple of other voices that weren't the main cast, I helped work on the visuals of those credits. Stuff like that. I always thought Olivia was just adopted at the nearest orphanage for the sake of screwing over Hale. Probably. Who the hell knows? Honestly, like... Okay, what the hell else were we talking about? 2025, how long have I been going? 2 hours. I'll need to eat dinner here shortly, but, So, one of the costumes I helped put together, but I did not do, obviously, because this is not me, is my partner did Young Administrator from the comic. And so the original idea, and I literally have the suit sitting in our closet. The original idea was we wanted to do The normal administrator, with her stupid ass giant hair. That was one of the failed helmet wigs. I could not pull that wig off. It just was not happening. So that's still on the back burner. So we thought, okay, easier one to do is the young administrator. So we got a two completely separate pieces of like shitty Amazon Renaissance fair shit. And we got as close as we could. There's like, the only altering we did is we dyed it. This took like 2 to 3 dye jobs to get correct. But I was like, we're getting it as close as we can. We're just gonna dye it so it's the same color. And then the wig is, it's a wig. Something's going on with this wig, because every time she's worn it, it's gone crazy. Even though I crimp the hell out of it, I treat it. As soon as it like hits the humidity of the 2 cons we've been to, it goes insane. You can't see it here, obviously, because we're indoors. But then I was like, okay, so we need a unique prop idea, one that will also at least help identify. You're still not going to be, like, recognizable, because no one's gonna know who the fuck you are. So the closest thing I could think of is the original idea was we get, like, a harness that had the TV sort of strapped kind of like how you would do wings. That ended up not working out, so I'm like, fuck it. We're gonna get like an 8-foot tall staff and you're just gonna carry it around. So it's just a bunch of PVC that we painted with these shitty screens that I made out of foam on the cheap. And printed out various like TF2 pictures of like, okay, so we have to have Zephaniah Man because that's the whole shtick, is like, that's where this would take place. That's where this prop came from. And then we gotta have like 2 iconic TF2 maps. I wanted to put in my personal like administrator SFM from there because I really just wanted to throw that in there. And then I chose a Meet the Medic one. Probably not for the reason you're thinking. I did not choose it because we were doing Meet the Real Medic. I actually chose it because in the director, was it the director? The comic where the end shot is her sitting back on the phone. Not the director. Why am I forgetting which one this was? Anyhow, one of the comics, where the ending shot is her with the TVs behind her, that was like one of the first visual images of Meet the Medic. And I really wanted to reference that even though no one would know what the hell I was doing. But that image, like in that exact comic, as far as I'm aware, does not exist anywhere outside of the comic. And obviously I can't like blow that up cleanly. So I just took that picture from Meet the Medic. That lithograph they sold a few years back. I like your voice. Thank you. I hate my voice, but thank you. Yeah, so this is the administrator one. I like it. Listen, as far as I'm aware, no one else has done this. No one else has definitely done the prop we did, but like I don't think anyone else has done the young administrator. And I kind of don't blame them because she's not that recognizable. Cause like, yeah, the prop is the only thing that could like even tip someone off. Outside of that, it's just like, oh, goth-ish looking chick. But this got worn to MomoCon. Wow, that's just the group shot. This got worn to MomoCon. Ignore the glasses. She has to wear glasses normally. And this is the year I finally got. Oh god, I finally got my friend to do Gray. I have been bugging him for multiple years. I was like, dude, you have to do Gray. I finally got him to do it, and then he had a medical emergency occur with his dad halfway through the photo shoot. But we got him in some photos before he had to leave. So where is? I don't upload a. What the hell? There are pictures that I thought I uploaded, and I think I just didn't. Yeah. So what else to talk about this? This wig sucks. This is the wig that like I fucked up royally. It's like that's the wig I like fucked up royally, and you can see the bangs are all over the place. It was not a good. I screwed that wig up beyond repair. But yeah, so that was MomoCon. Also, I need to get a new skirt. The skirt just, fit-wise, it is god-awful. I have to get a new skirt. Which I realized after this portion of Meet the Real Medic, because you can't see my back in this shot, we basically took a bunch of safety pins and just pinned the back of it so it was more it conformed more to my body. And I was sitting there looking at these pictures, I'm like, yeah, this skirt's gotta go. I gotta get a new skirt. What hairspray did I use on it? Good old Got To Be. Now the problem with the bangs on this wig is I royally screwed up cutting them. They are beyond repair. This was what my hairdresser was able to fix. I paid him money to try and fix what he could. And he was like, this is as best as I could get them. They are fucked. So, yeah. That's why I got a new one in the remaining photos. But, trying to think, what else? MomoCon. Where's MomoCon? Yeah, MomoCon. Yeah, MomoCon. We had a really big group. Yeah, there's us. I'm so glad I finally got him to do great. I've been trying for years! I finally got him to do it! Love seeing the Beat Boy. Candid shot of Paige trying to corral people. Piss. Meds. Oh, that's the end of that. Anything else here? Is it just, I think this is just the scout ones. Yeah, okay. Let's see. What else to talk about with MomoCon? Well, MomoCon's where I did the Muscle Nerds, which was a very, very interesting experience. I'll tell you that much. Definitely not my wheelhouse, but I wanted to do something that was outside my comfort zone. And I am glad I did it. I know what I would change if I ever did it again, but for the time being, I don't think I intend to enter another Muscle Nerds. So for context, Muscle Nerds is a cosplay nerd bodybuilding competition. So your body and the performance you do on stage to show off your body is very, very, very heavily judged. And I don't think I'm gonna do it again. I've got some elbow issues that have been bugging me, and it's made it so that like I can't work out as much as I'd like to. Plus I'd have to come up with a new costume. I can't run it back. But like I know what went wrong in my performance, and it's because I'm not used to how bodybuilding works. My performance was more based on the creativity side of things and the creativity side of things. So basically what I did for my routine was I basically strung along rings screaming at me to do certain exercises from the game. But because of that, I didn't end up holding the poses as long as I should have, because in bodybuilding competitions, you kind of want to hold a pose to like really show off your muscles. And I just definitely didn't do that enough on some of them. I'd get like into the pose and then like a second and a half later get out of the pose. I think I have a video of it. I don't know if it's on my computer, but like I'll show it if I have it. It was very interesting. That was definitely, I know that was definitely an issue in hindsight of I needed to slow it down, but I didn't know that. So, this was, DragonCon was like super stacked this past year for us. There was a lot of TF2. So these were just the ones that I was like a part of, but the Manco Cosplay Department, which is the East Coast TF2 group that I'm a part of, also did a trivia panel that I was like, I can't really help. I'm too bogged down for to help and like be a part of it. And I was like, I know you want role players. I can't do the role playing shit. And I was also like, theirs happened on Sunday, and I was like, if I do TF2 3 days in a row at DragonCon, I'm gonna go fucking insane. So I was like, I'm sorry. I had to do it Friday for my own panel. I had to do TF2 on Saturday for the photo shoot and the parade. I had to switch it up on Sunday. I would have gone insane if I didn't. So yeah, so they had a trivia panel on Sunday, which was a lot of fun, and it was packed. But yeah, we walked in the parade, and I realized I don't actually have pictures from that because I was in the parade. I didn't fucking take pictures of the parade. But yeah, this is my one funny thing. The only thing I was like, you know what? This is in my head. We're gonna do this. I brought my stupid stool. It's like, let's do this. The plunger is there by complete accident, though. I think it was like a perfect prop to denote the the caption of sniping doesn't cut it in this economy. That is not my plunger. That is a random cosplayer's plunger that was like waiting over here for a book signing. I think in like one of those things of like as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is great. This is a perfect thing. I hate Instagram's quality. Blue as always was outnumbered, but it's not as bad as some that I've seen. Yeah, I did Blue Sniper for the parade if it wasn't obvious. I have also come to the conclusion that I am not doing Sniper again in the parade because I came to the realization that every single Dragon Con parade I have been a part of, I have been a fucking Sniper. And it's just like, I gotta do something else. I have to do another character. Please. I have not made a decision on what to do next year, because I'll enter us again, which that's completely unrelated thing. I need to like talk to people and be like, field any interest in who wants to do it, because I have to give them a number when I sign up. Huntsman Sniper for that. I've done Huntsman Sniper! I have a shitty Huntsman. Yeah, you can't really see it, but there's a shitty Huntsman back there. I'm not doing Sniper again. Sniper's like one of my most cosplayed characters. I'm getting a little tired of it. I just did a whole year of Sniper. Well, this is back. This is better MomoCon picture. I know I definitely. Yeah. This is not my portal gun. I ran into another Chell. They let me borrow it. Yeah, it's my Chell. I gotta work on my Chell, if only because, like, to fully be happy with it, I need to redo the boots. Why did the music stop? That song's not working. I gotta redo these boots. These boots suck ass to both wear and, like, look, in my opinion. I made the mistake when I made those boots I was making them out of slouch boots, which was not a good idea, because that means there was a lot of extra material. That's why my legs look so chunky, is because it was a slouch boot. So the round area of fabric on that boot is like way wider than my actual calf. But yeah, Chell, one of those ones where it was like, one, I love the Portal series. 2, I look like Chell. I have the, I guess you could say, what's the word? I am blessed with similar genes to the woman who was Chell's face model. So I was like, I need to do Chell. And this is my 2nd year wearing her, I believe. And in the same vein, I have been meaning to do Zoe from Left 4 Dead, because she's also the same face model. I also really want to do Zoe because it will be a good chance for me to really just practice and work on my weathering techniques. Because with Zoe, I could, like, really fuck up the fabric. I could, like, hit that stuff with dirt and sandpaper and just really go to town on it, because it's not clean. She's been through the apocalypse. She looks like shit. So I really want to do that. I'll probably do Zoe for next MomoCon. That was kind of like my goal to begin with. I haven't started her, but it shouldn't be too hard, and I'm not entering it into a contest, so I don't have to make everything from scratch. I just need to get stuff and alter it as needed. So, yeah. Zoe is in the pipeline. I bought the stupid medkit backpack back there specifically for that costume. And it won't be a hard one to gather. I just have to spend time weathering it. Shit, that means I need to get jeans and a t-shirt specifically for Zoe because I have to intentionally screw it up. So I can't use any of my like normal wardrobe for that. But let's see. I don't know. This is what we did for Halloween. I threw together a shitty cabbage merchant costume for Paige, and as well as my mom, who is dressed up as Kaya, which is Katara's daughter. And we just sat on a corner in my mom's neighborhood and handed out candy. We made the mistake of only getting 3 cabbages. And the first kid that came up to us, Paige was like, "Do you want a cabbage?" And he excitedly took a cabbage. And I'm like, "Paige, we have 2 to 3 hours left in the night, and we're already down a cabbage." But yeah, this was our cheap, shitty, like, conversion, because this cart, so the cart is actually a cart that we use at home. This is a cart that stays in our kitchen that we have, like, our rice maker on and stuff. So I was like, 1, I don't want to spend a lot of money converting this. 2, it needs to be a temporary conversion because we need to be able to use this cart, so we can't, like, bust up this cart only for this joke. So we just kind of haphazardly put it together. There's some things I think I want to change if we do this again next year. But, so, like, we used burlap in order to kind of, like, cover up what we could of the edges and stuff, so that's why there's, like, a burlap sack kind of hanging down. These are just obviously pool noodles we bought on clearance after the summer that we just slapped on. Why do I have a rice cooker and a moving cart? Because we have no counter space in our apartment! The cart doesn't move normally, it's pretty stationary. So we just use it as shelf space. But yeah, so this is what we did. The terrible cabbage costume that I was like, I'm getting the cheapest cotton fabric I can find and we're slapping this together. So I'm pretty sure, like, the cabbage merchant is supposed to actually be wearing a turban. And I was like, I don't have enough material for a turban. So I'm making you a shitty hat. This is like a women's box hat that I made in like 30 minutes. And it looks the part, but and it's apparently, it fits and it's comfortable, but it's so dumb looking. And this is the sign. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make us a sign because I'm just gonna get called Katara and no one's gonna know who the hell Mom is. It's a pretty small hat. I don't, in the live action, they translated into a turban, so I think that's what it was supposed to be from the beginning. And that's kind of what I was trying to, like, base a couple things off of. But, yeah. Yeah, that was Halloween. And that was Sonic Expo. Trying to think what else to talk about. I don't have much else to talk about. Let me see if I can find that video, because I never posted the recording of that really weird routine that I did. Do I have it? It'd be on site. Bring it if it's here. Let's see if it's in a drive. Did I ever upload it? About the DC parade, I remember a cameraman going up to us at some point while we were walking. Was that footage put anywhere? So multiple people went up to us. They didn't go up to me, they never come up to me. But multiple people went up to our group. Some of which were random photographers, some of which were photographers for official sites, and at least one of which was a cameraman from the parade. And I know that there's definitely some footage scattered out there that I've seen of more close-ups of the group. but I couldn't tell you exactly where. Can I, like, type dot, give me dot mp4 videos, give me videos. This is all Meet the Real Medic stuff? Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Oh god. Okay, so let me preface this again with the fact that as soon as I got on stage and walked up those stairs, my shoe went flying, and the audio cue had already started, so I couldn't stop and get my shoe. I just had to go with it. Yeah, so the man in blue is obviously a judge. He is a professional bodybuilder. He was dressed as Dr. Manhattan. And where is the... So this was my routine for muscle nerds. So dumb. You're not supposed to go that wide on a squat, by the way. This is probably the routine I've, like, practiced the most for, but, like, I had to kind of remember what I was going into, and it's the longest. But yeah, I think one of the issues was I wasn't staying still long enough for them to, like, properly judge. I should have stayed longer in that one, but my foot was actually slipping, and I had to get back up. So yeah, that's my stupid ass ring fit routine. It's like laughing because I'm like, fuck, I did that whole thing without my shoe. I honest to God don't know how I did some of those without busting my ass without my shoe. Cause that was a very, with just my sock, that was an incredibly slick surface. I actually had to put grippers on my shoes because I had to paint the soles of my shoes because I couldn't find anything that worked. So I had to literally paint a pair of shoes. But because of that, I lost all traction on the sole of my shoe. So I can actually, hold on. I can actually pull the shoe out because I just reorganized a few things. So there is literally a gripper that I had to, like, carve out. Otherwise, I'd be sliding everywhere. And, like, to be fair, they work really well. Losing the shoes seemed to make you lose a bit of balance. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Especially when I had to, I'm just gonna mute this, I don't want to hear it. When I had to do this, there was so much pressure put on my right foot because I had to get traction somewhere. And I go so quickly up from this because I could feel myself sliding. I'm just so glad I did not slip. The wide squats weren't that bad. It really was just the forward, this one. That was just like, this was the one that as soon as my shoe flew off, I was like, fuck, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And then thankfully, okay, so if it had been my right shoe that flew off, I would have been in serious trouble. Because the right side of my body is the dominant one, which meant all of the balance ones, which I'm also shaking, but holy shit, nerves. That was one of those things, if you go on stage, you black out, and then you're off stage. I barely remember this. But if this had been my right shoe that had come off, I would have been in serious trouble because of these two poses that are balance intensive and a very quick transition into them. I can't do the tree pose this steadily with my other foot. So thank God it was the other shoe that flew off. Yeah, it was a slip-on shoe. I've never had an issue with that shoe prior. And those are shoes that, like, I wear to work out all the time. Of course, the one time I needed the shoe to stay on my fucking foot, it bailed. It didn't want to be a part of it. So that's, like, I think the only... Let me see if I got anything else. I think that's, like, the only piece of content I have that I can show. I can't show any of the Meet the Romedic stuff. No, that's not my video. Yeah, that's about all I can really show. I obviously didn't record a lot of stuff. I'm really, really bad about recording things, especially at cons and stuff. Hold on, what is this video? Is this video prejudging? This is prejudging. This was the, yeah, this is how we get our finalists. We put like 4 of you on stage and tell you to do some shit. So this, I guess Paige just recorded me doing prejudging poses that they were like, hey, give us like 3 poses, and I'm like, fuck, you can tell I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, what looks good? Props for continuing like nothing happened. I would have panicked. Oh, I was panicking internally. One of the judges was like, I thought that was actually part of your routine, because I was like talking about it afterwards. I'm like, no, that was not intentional. That shoe was not supposed to come off. Yeah, this is the prejudging. This is culling everyone down, because there were only 5 finalists that they chose. The men's category, of course, was significantly more stacked than the women's. There were so many guys. There were so many guys that entered. And there were not as many women. I think there were probably 10-ish. Let me actually, here, let me see if I can find the pictures. Why is my brain not able to type in a muscle? Hold on. Omicon 2025. Pictures? I know there was an official photographer. I just need to find them. Now do 3 poses, forward, side, other side. Yeah, I did not know what the hell I was doing. Do they have a link to the pictures anywhere? I know someone uploaded them, but it was not on their account. What, 2 days ago? Oh, this is them announcing 2026. Okay. Okay, I think I might actually be able to find them. Hold on. Where is Instagram? Okay, I think... Okay, so this I would have tagged... Okay. Does she still have... Okay, just in case I accidentally get something NSFW, let me figure this out. No, I don't want your Amazon wishlist. Also, nerds? Did you save it in a story? That's it. Okay, I think I found it. Gallery not found! Fuck! You know what? I tried. This, damn it. I love temporary links. Okay, does this one? Gallery not found! Everyone edited singles? Okay, this exists. I'll take it. I'll take it. This is correct. Okay, so this is the people I had to go against. Dude, guys, I'm not a bodybuilder. Like, I will never, ever claim to be a bodybuilder or into bodybuilding. I just work out for healthy purposes. But yeah, so these were some of the guys that competed. It's a very big difference between the women and the men, I'll tell you that much. There were so many guys. There were like, I think 25 guys in total that competed. I am so sad that just due to build, this Waluigi didn't get through, because like they clearly wanted really bulky guys. And like this guy was like the Waluigi build. Like the Waluigi build. I was so sad he couldn't get through, but there were so many like male contestants. But like, believe me when I tell you, this guy was the perfect shape for Waluigi. It was great. And more guys. He had a really cool costume. I talked to him later. It was actually an original character that he made up. I really liked his costume. It was very unique. There was a Bolin. A random Bolin. This guy was fucking jacked. This is what they're judging, folks. This is a bodybuilding competition, so like, yeah. One of the criteria, and they say like it's not required, but in reality it is required, because they gotta be able to like see stuff. The less clothes you have, the better they can see your body. And this is the extent I am willing to go for something like this. Like maybe the shorts, the pants could be a little shorter, like maybe right up above the knee, but like, this is the extent I'm willing to go. Some of those are just dudes in normal clothing. I don't know what the balance is, because they just kind of asked us from afar, like, oh, tell us a little bit about your costume. That's kind of all we got. So I don't know how much they actually judged the costume versus how much the body portion. Obviously the body portion was like probably the most weighted. But I don't know how weighted the costume stuff are. This is the one that won. She was jacked. She won women's. Yeah, these are not prejudging. This is everyone who went doing their walk just to show off before the finals. These two competed as a duo, if I remember correctly. If it's not obvious based on their costume. She got second. Yes, the Melania got second. Damn, those things must be on tight, because, like, honestly, I would be really afraid of a nip slip in that thing. His costume was really cool. I think he's Devil Jin, if I'm remembering correctly, but I might also be horrendously wrong. I think that's it. I guess that's it. Who? I think the goat... What? I think he won men's. Maybe. I don't quite remember. I think he won men's. But, yeah, so that's Muscle Nerds. It's a very interesting competition. I've only, obviously, ever attended and competed in the MomoCon one. I didn't go to the DragonCon one. I think they hold it, like, Thursday every DragonCon. I'm not there Thursday. But, I don't personally intend to do this again. It was a very interesting experience, and I'm glad I did it. But I don't even know what the fuck I would do for a second costume. Like, this is it! This is all I got for stuff that would work with the criteria they need. This is the skimpiest costume I've ever done. You're not getting anything more out of me. But yeah. So, yeah, that's Muscle Nerds. I don't know what else to talk about, honestly. Does anyone have any questions? We could just shoot the shit for a little bit. Let me fix this. I don't intend to go back unless I need to. There we go. Okay. That's a good time to check people who are actually watching, because I haven't been able to see numbers this entire time. I don't know how many people are watching on both sites. Yeah, okay. Will there be more than 5 streams next year and 9 months of silence? Hey, the only silence is in YouTube and Twitch. I am quite active in other places, except my own Discord, because I'm bad about that. Can't see. Any tips on trying to get gray leggings to look metallic? How metallic are you wanting? Because most people will say, like, just get some, shiny spandex. And that usually, for what most people want, that's usually enough for them. But if you're... Because the problem is leggings basically have to be stretchy. So you have to find a stretchy material that has a metallic sheen over it. You could probably also get away with airbrushing, as long as you make sure that the whatever paint you use will stretch to the fact that you are stretching your legs into them. But usually it's just a shiny spandex most people go for, with some light airbrushing on top to probably, like, put some depth in on it. That's not something I've personally tackled, but yeah. What's your dream cosplay? Like, unlimited time and a budget. I don't know if I have a singular dream costume. I'll tell you, I've got 2 ideas that have been in the pipeline for a while, that will be pushing the limits of what I'm able to do. And one of them I really should not start until I have embroidery and more sewing experience in terms of machine. Because I have yet to make a costume piece that uses a zipper. And I really need to learn how to install a zipper properly, because it's not happened yet. And for the one of the costumes I want to do, that shit's not getting on unless I can zip into it. So there's that one, and then there's a TF2 one, which I've talked about in the past, that, like, I really want to do, but I want to do it for a contest, which means I have to take my time and I have to execute it correctly. And I really want to do Mr. Mundy's Wild Ride. And my mind is, like, getting to the point of it's fully understanding how I need to tackle this. But it means that I essentially have to I have to delve into making half of a fursuit. So I need to go research how to make a fucking fursuit, because that's gonna be the only way I can execute that accessory. And I'm kind of hesitant, because then my algorithm is gonna get so fucked up and it's just gonna start giving me all of this constantly. But so the legs would be more scaly than furry. Yes, you are correct. However, the construction is what I need to take away from the fursuits. And I believe it's made out of upholstery foam, which is flexible and carvable. So that's what I kind of have to look into, is how to go about that. So my idea is, if I can carve out the legs and the body, so the legs are going to have to essentially be attached to the body, and I'm going to have to, like, slide into it somehow. But if I can get the legs probably covered with a spandex-like material that goes over the foam portions to act as kind of a skin, and then if I go from there and make custom, like, foam pieces that are in the shape of the scales to kind of plaster over, which I need to figure out the gluing method, because I can't have that stuff coming off, to make the legs. I think that'll work for the legs, and then the body I basically am going to have to carve out of upholstery foam as well, and then kind of do the same thing, but I think I can get away with not covering it in fabric, but I'm going to have to make all the feathers individually. And I've gotten a little bit of experience making feathers. I just have to spend more time, and it'll be extremely time consuming to do because I'm gonna have to properly paint, score, cut out all the feathers and all that jazz and make sure that they're properly attached. And if I take my time, I think I could pull it off really fucking well, but it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be a lot of stuff I've never done before. Could probably do fur fabric for the bulk of it. No, there's a very big difference between fur and feathers, and I really don't want to put fur fabric on there because it'll also make trying to adhere the feathers really difficult. Like, really difficult. I could maybe line it with, like, a wool, if I can, like, just make a wool shape out of the body to work as a base, but I don't think I can do, like, straight up fur. Because I have to be able to get those feathers on pretty solidly. But that also means I have to carve an ostrich head. And oh my god. Sculpting is not, like, that sort of sculpting is not a skill set of mine. So I gotta figure out how to do that. The neck can just be an EVA foam too. That's easy. I have the materials, but like that is like the main TF2 costume that I want to make for a contest. Because I think if I pull it off really well, and if I do that, I have to remake my vest, because technically that vest is already won, so I have to remake it, plus I know what I need to improve on that vest anyhow, so kind of works out. But I haven't made a decision on, like, which other things to go with it, because if I'm entering a contest, I can't enter shit that I've done before and have won. And unfortunately, I blew Sniper on a really tiny judge contest, and it's like, I can't really enter it. It's bad sportsmanship. Which means I can't enter the Sydney Sleeper, which would have been the perfect fucking weapon. So I have to figure out what the hell to do from there. Maybe I just make a Huntsman from scratch, but it's not as impressive. I too had to deal with sewing in a zipper for the first time this Christmas. Yeah, I need to learn how to do a zipper, because the other costume that I really, really want to do, but it would seriously be pushing my sewing skills, is I want to do Talim from Soul Calibur 2. I want to specifically do her alternate costume, which is the pink one. And let me pull up a picture, because when I actually look at it, there's a fuck ton of detail. And I am just about to start learning hand embroidery, so I need to get a handle on that before I start tackling this one, but I'll need a zipper because I need to get in and out of it. Where are the pictures? Gallery. I know they have, like, really good reference picture. Here we go. I don't care about changing the camera. Yeah, so this is the one I want to do. And so I've been kind of sussing out, like, okay, this is what techniques need to be used here. This is what techniques need to be used there. I need to figure out, this is going to be so hard. This is so far. It's not that far, but there's a lot more craftsmanship and detail that needs to be put into this. I'd like to point out, this is a game from the GameCube PS2 era. Look at all these details that I have to replicate. It is stupidly detailed. It's like, I gotta figure out this, because, like, in my mind, I know what this is supposed to be. The problem is, I don't know what the hell it's called, so I can't look it up. Like, I know what this is supposed to visually look like, at least the cuffs. I haven't been able to figure out if these are supposed to be, like, leather bracers for socks or what. Like, I can't tell what that texture is supposed to represent. So I have no idea on that portion. The pants are, like, the only thing that I'm like, I know exactly what to do, and this will be, like, the one time that I just say screw it and I buy a pre-bought pant pattern, because pants are one of the things that, like, I don't want to try and self-pattern, because pants are the thing that I absolutely do not want to fail on a costume. I can't have a pant pattern be uncomfortable. It's just not happening. But this would be the most detailed thing by far that I would ever put together, and I haven't quite started it yet. I'm still number 3 on gift subs and number 4 on bits. It's been 8 years. Yeah, because I haven't done shit. Hi, good to see you. But this one I've just been thinking about. It's just like, oh my god, there's so much shit. This is one that would legitimately take me a very long time to put together, I think. Even if I work really quickly, there's just so much stuff that I have to take my time and make sure I get it right. Especially if I buy, like, silk for the fucking pink shirt, because I'm pretty sure it's silk! And silk is really expensive, and I can't screw that up, or I'll be out like $150. Is that not some kind of flared leg warmer? It's not a leg warmer. I know it is not a leg warmer, because you gotta think about the time period in which this takes place in. What I'm pretty sure it is those, so, like, you know, in, like, the Renaissance, they had those really ruffled collars that were, like, kind of encased. I think it's like that, but I have no goddamn idea what to look up, because it's not a ruffle collar. A ruffle collar will get me the wrong thing. So I need to figure out what the hell it's actually called so I can look up how to make it. Could you not do rayon shiniest fabric with a bulkier backing? So here's where it becomes a problem. This costume would be intended to be entered into a craftsmanship contest, and one of the things that the judges really look for is proper material usage. I have to try and match the materials that might have been used in the actual costume. And this is almost certainly some form of silk, because it is based off of Asian women's dresses. It's like a qing pao, and it's almost certainly a silk or some version of it. So I have to, like, choose the correct material. And then it has to be a material that I think it's kind of stamped. I think the white on the torso is supposed to be stamped feature. I certainly hope it is, because I don't know if I have the mental capacity to try and embroider whatever the hell that design is. That design is so intricate. I can embroider, like, the rest of it probably. Like, there's a flower on her chest. And, like, I don't think that these patches are entirely embroidered, but I think the outline is. So, like, stuff like that. Yes, this is Talim from Soul Calibur 2. This is her alternate costume from Soul Calibur 2. The pants I can get done, I think, no problem. Honest to God, like, I think I have to start with the pants. Because I can definitely make those. If I have a pattern for pants like that, and I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna alter it a little bit for modesty purposes. So I'm gonna make it so that the slit's not as high up, and I might make the shorts a little bit longer. And I think judges would be fine with that if I explain. Like, it's for personal comfort purposes. I'm just gonna modify it a little bit. So I think the pants I can do no problem. I just have to get the right trim. I think I've determined that they're probably linen pants or some form of linen, based on the texture that it's given. And that'd be perfect! I just worked with a shit ton of linen for Yang Chen! That'd be perfect to start on. But outside of that, it's definitely some kind of gold trim, and it's a shiny material, so I have to figure out, like, what the hell can I use for that? I thought I was looking at Guild Wars 1. Nope, this is Soul Calibur 2. But yeah, this is one of the dream cosplays I've wanted to do, but it's so intricate. I just haven't started it yet, because I haven't, like, quite gotten to the self-motivation level of, yeah, I can definitely pull this off. I'm pretty pretty sure I can pull the pants off. The pants are no problem. I can figure out the headpiece too, which I don't know if like the red is leather. This is where it becomes a problem where I'm not very skilled in the textile knowledge. I'm not able to like really identify a lot of materials because I don't have that knowledge behind me. I didn't take any classes for that, so it's all self-taught and I just gotta figure this shit out. But it's like I'm pretty sure I got the pants and the pink shirt down in terms of material. I'm not entirely certain what the top is, or the crop top coat, whatever the hell that is. I don't think it's the same material as the shirt, but I'm not 100% certain what it actually is. Am I gonna carve the gauntlets from foam? That's another thing I gotta figure out. Like, I haven't properly made foam gauntlets yet, and it's gonna have to at least, the base is gonna at least have to be made out of foam, just because it's a puffy gauntlet. I could probably... Now, the forearm portion can be foam, but the rest can't because it's a full glove. So I'm gonna have... So that portion, the base of it, can be foam. Oh fuck, how do I get into this? I'm gonna have to, like, have a tie system on the back or something. I'm gonna have to add that, because... What the fuck? How do you get into that? But because the hand is like a normal fingerless glove, I'm gonna have, like, the actual material there. So it's just gonna have to be a foam base that's then covered in whatever the material for the rest of it is. Fuck! There's so much stuff to do on this. Like, I'm like figuring out how to go about it, but there's some stuff that's just like, holy shit, what do I do? I gotta make a necklace too. Which, like, actually having to properly make a necklace is gonna suck. And it's a choker, so that means it has to be properly sized. And it looks like the gauntlet has fabric padding. It probably does. I mean, I can't make that gauntlet out of only foam. It's impossible because it's a whole glove too. If it was just the gauntlet, yeah, I could get away with it. But because it's the exact same material as the glove, it's probably it's a leather. I know it's a form of leather. And then that becomes another problem of like I can use pleather, but that shit sucks and it's going to disintegrate after a few uses. I can't believe Soul Calibur 2 looks so good. Those PS2 graphics really hold up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are renders from the HD version, but I mean, the HD version is just taking the textures that already existed and boosting the resolution. The Soul Calibur games, like, always look visually really good. Yeah, this is one of the ones I really want to do. It's probably not happening in 2026. I'd be very surprised if I managed to get it done in 2026. Honestly, I kind of really want to get Mr. Mundy's Wild Ride done next year. Because AWA is the week before Thanksgiving, and I think that'd be a hilarious costume to enter into the contest. If I, like, successfully pull it off. Ostriches are close enough to turkeys, right? Like, you see the through line there. But yeah, with a sniper, I have to replace the prop, and I have to decide if there's other cosmetics I want to substitute in to just show off different craftsmanship skills, as well as, like, I have to remake the vest anyhow, so if there's a slightly different vest to sub in, just so I can make something different and they don't think it's the same vest, that would work. I need to go sit down and look through the options for sniper. Yeah, that was a buzz on my phone that I can't check because I'm still streaming. I should probably end it here. I don't know when the next stream will be. I don't know what the next stream would be. If you're wondering, I have played a lot of games this past year, but they're games that I like sit and stare and think and I don't want to stream it, to be honest. I have considered streaming Kirby Air Riders though, because that is a game I can just breeze right through. That is what happens when that is a childhood game that you then played for multiple hours in college in common rooms. That is a game that I can just sit back, relax, and play with no issue. Sometime next year. Yeah, it'll be next year at on December 26th. See you in a year. No, I hope to stream a little bit more. It's just streaming games is anxious for me. I also don't want to stream cosplay crafting, which I guess after I eat I need to go work on this baby right here. I need to go start painting them, get some base coats on. But I don't want to stream cosplay crafting because, one, I don't have a great setup for it. I don't do most of my crafting here in this room, and there's not a whole lot of space out there. Another reason is also when I'm doing work like that, I end up bouncing between rooms a lot. So I might spend like 5 minutes at this desk and then I have to go back somewhere else while something's drying. There's also a lot of drying involved if it's painting or sanding or foam work. There's just a lot of waiting for shit to dry, and that's not fun to watch. And also, to be honest, that would probably invite a lot of backseaters, and backseating in a game is one thing, especially if it's a game that, like, I've never played before. I can understand that, but if it's me sitting there, like, methodically working through how I craft, and someone coming in and saying you're doing it wrong, do another way, I don't want to invite that. Like, I'll be transparent about that. I don't want people to sit there and backseat me working on something. Unless I'm, like, specifically asking, like, hey, how do you guys go about this? Because I don't think my method's very good. If I'm sitting there just working on something, like painting something, and someone comes in and criticizes me or says, like, why don't you have an airbrush? Fucking, I don't own an airbrush. You're getting hand painting. So stuff like that. That's one reason why I don't, well, actually, those are many reasons why I don't stream my crafting stuff, because I just also I don't think I'd be talking a lot. If I started talking a lot, then I'd be getting distracted and I would either make mistakes or I would just stop working on the thing I was working on. But yeah, I don't want someone, especially if it's sewing, because like I'm not the most confident in my use of a sewing machine. There's a lot of things I don't know about sewing machines. I basically use straight stitch and call it a day when it comes to the machines. That's because I've only had one for a year and I've never taken a fucking class. So, I kind of just wing it a lot on machine stuff. So if someone was like, oh, you gotta change it to this stitch and change the tension to 4 and the stitch width should be smaller. Like, yeah. There are channels that are about craftsmanship that create edited videos instead of streaming. Though that would add a lot of work of editing on top of the cameras. So that's another, so I mentioned this earlier, I'm really, really bad about noting down my in-progress stuff. I'll get, like, shitty photos, because that's about all I can remember, because I need the photos for any build books I make. But I don't really, again, I don't have, it's kind of the same thing with streaming. I don't have a setup in which I could just plop my phone there, put it on a time lapse or recording, like a normal recording, and just go to town for like an hour. I don't really have a setup like that where it looks clean. Also, I'm a really messy person when it comes to crafting, and my craft spaces are not the cleanest. So you would see a bunch of shit around, and then just a little space carved out for whatever I'm working on. It wouldn't be the prettiest. But yeah, I'm really bad about documenting stuff like that. That's why there's basically like no in-progress videos. So the video I was working on, the prop video, I get to the Abominomicon portion, and I'm basically explaining the process in which it went through, And I got to the point where it's like, I need to like physically demonstrate how I did this. So I basically had to get a mock-up version, just a dramatization version, and just show physically what I had done. And that's what I'd have to do if I kept doing that. And I can't do that for, yeah, so I filled in the 3D print on the putty, and it's just me, like, holding up some putty and a 3D print and just shrugging, because it's like, I don't have the time to just make a mock-up picture of this. like shit like that. But yeah, that's kind of why I don't stream that. I just think it's boring watching someone sit there and like meticulously sew or paint something or cut out some foam. But again, I move around a lot. Like, I move around a fuck ton when I'm working on stuff, and it just doesn't work unless I have something like strapped to my chest. But yeah, trying to think what else. I'm like itching to go paint this shotgun, but I also really need to go eat food because it's 8. But yeah, so I think I'll end it there. I don't know the next time I'll stream, and I don't know what I'll do, and I don't know if I should stay with the YouTube co-stream or not, because I'm streaming to both places. But I'm not sure. I don't think it matters anymore, honestly. My YouTube channel is so dead due to my lack of inactivity. I don't know if it matters, to be quite honest. But yeah. Thanks for those of you that stuck around. Hopefully I do more in the new year. I don't know. Yeah, see you in 3 months. 3 months is generous. But yeah, thanks for those of you that stuck around. I am going to end it. Maybe one day I'll talk about what I actually played this year instead of just word vomiting for 3 hours. Maybe I need to go play some RV there yet. Actually, no, I can't. Paige isn't home. I can't. There's a lot of co-op games I can't play because Paige is part of the party. Had fun with the stream. Love hearing about your cosplay stuff. I hope other people do too. That's what I like spouting about. Tried Marvel Rivals? I hate Marvel Rivals. There's no time to get into that. I hate Marvel Rivals.